Am I wrong in assuming that us diabetics are supposed to eat frequently? Because, like, I remember being, like, in the joint, especially, like, down the road, you know, and watching the after lunch, a little while, be like an hour or two after lunch, and like all the diabetics would like gather around at the guard station, and they start like handing out bags, and it wouldn't be much. It'd be like a little half a sandwich, like a little piece of banana and some other shit, maybe a little piece of apple or something. And but I mean, when you locked up, man, that extra snackage is extra snackage, and I had a guard sneak me the one of the some of the extra bags once in a while. I mean, it wouldn't like sneak me like bags at a time. They like just uh, every once in a while I'd ask him for one of the extra bags and he'd hook me up because I was one of the inmates that never gave him no troubles. Uh, you know, and like I said, it wouldn't be much, but it'd be something. It'd be something. I'm telling you, man, when you in that joint, especially if you in a joint like Powhatan, where that was, man, every little bit that you can get counts. Every little bit, man, every little bit. Powhatan was fucking rough. It wasn't rough because like violence. I mean, there was violence and all of that shit too. But I'm saying that wasn't the roughest part. The roughest part, man, was like the heat, and running out of supplies, being expected to last a fucking roll of toilet paper for a week. Um, it's, man. Even just some of the simple shit that you would never fucking think of, like being in a cell with another person, and then you like develop ways to like shit in front of the other person but still maintain a little privacy. Like one of the things we would do for a while would we put up like a little piece of sheet from the end of the bed cot to the wall, like just in front of where the toilet was. And then when you had to take a shit, your inmate would like sit on the outside by the by the bars, and then you go back behind the sheet and take a shit. And like half of the guards, they didn't care. They're like, all right, we understand. Your man's got to take a shit. But some of the guards was just assholes, and fucking yell at you, take that seat down. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Take that sheet down. Hey, Bo, take that sheet down there. And I'd be like, nah, I'm trying to take shit over here, Bo. It's rough. I'm just saying, it's rough. It's rough. Um, we found good times. That is that was the song playing through my head the entire time while I was locked up. Just looking for a little bit of heaven, heaven. I'm looking for a little bit of heaven. Looking for heaven, heaven, heaven. Uh, from which there's no second chance when you slip. Oh shit. To get away, most just dip, light, and trip. Uh, you gotta get away or your mind's gonna rot. They called us stupid, but we never got caught. How did the next one go? Uh, where do you find a place like heaven when you live in a place like hell. Just looking for a little bit of heaven? Yeah, but it's in a place like hell. Trying to find a little bit of heaven in a place like hell. And that is literally two things. That is literally, you know, that saying when you get locked up that you only do 2 days, you know, that's some spiritual shit right there, man. That is some spiritual shit right there because, you know, when you sit down crying and, constantly worrying and stressing over how many years or months or, decades or whatever that you have, you know, it just makes that time so much harder. And the time just go by so slow, like them fools in there marking the days off of the wall. Baby, Oh, you know, free your soul and save my mind, and bide your time, or I rather occupy your time. But, you're looking for a little bit of heaven in a place like hell, you know, that's why you hit them libraries, or you hit the gym, or you go out if you're like in a cell, you fill your pillowcases up and like hook them up to something, so you do some curls, or or do push-ups or sit-ups, whatever, if that's your thing. I was lucky once I got to Stanton anyway, because like you be out on the yard every day, every fucking day. And there was like, you could go to church services, you could go to the rec room and play pool. What I did was check out a guitar and take it in the back. It kind of sucked because you had like a room full of like 30 people, in just one room, all sitting around, 30 different people playing 30 different songs, but a little bit of heaven in a place like hell, not a lot of bit of heaven, a little bit of heaven, but, I am sorry to get off on this tangent again, like I always do, and tell the same lesson that I've always taught since the history of ever doing any of these videos where I ramble about this subject. The most golden, the most heaven in a place like hell you're ever going to find in prison is that visitation room. Is that visitation room. And I tell you, baby, no bullshit. No bullshit. Hear me loud. Hear me on this shit. Don't fight. Don't fight. I don't care if it's your baby's mama coming to see you and you know that she's cheating on you with your best friend. She's cheating on you with a best friend, and her daughter, your daughter is fucking his daughter, or whatever. I don't give a fuck. She cheated on you and stabbed your mama in the back. If she's coming out there to see you, don't fight. Don't fight. I'm saying don't fight, because that's the closest bit to heaven you're gonna ever get when you locked up, is having visitors. Somebody from the outside that cares enough about you to come and put up with all the bullshit of going to see somebody in prison to spend 15 minutes with you. I'm saying though. I am saying no. And the more awkward and, frustrating you make it for them to come visit you, to spend those 15 minutes. Some of these people, you get them visits from people, driving 2-3 hours to come spend that 15 minutes with you, You want them coming back. You want them coming back, baby. You try to make that the best time of their life. I mean, that's of extremely tall order. Not gonna happen, whatever. But, You try your damnedest to make sure they have a good time. You know, you make the most out of that 15 minutes because you want them visits, baby. You want them visits. That shit is gold. That is, excuse me. That shit is tummy G, but the G stands for gold.